Okay, good afternoon. My name is Luigi De Angelis. I'm a PhD student in Comparative Literature at Western University. First, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share some of my research interests with you, especially on the Bible and literature this time. The title of my presentation is The Red Tent, Divine Secrets of the Inanna Sisterhood. As we can observe in this slide, this is the book cover of Anita Diamant's novel, The Red Tent. This book is the central topic of my presentation. Women bonding, female friendship, and sisterhood are important concepts in The Red Tent. With this in mind, the author creates the conditions so the readers can identify themselves with what happens in the text. The Red Tent is a novel written by Anita Diamant based on the story of Dinah, daughter of Jacob and Leah, and passive protagonist of a violent episode described in Genesis 34. In this biblical episode, she is raped and abducted by the Canaanite prince Shalem, who later falls in love with her. Her brothers, Simon and Levi, avenge her by killing all the male Shechemites. Dinah remains voiceless during the whole narration. In The Red Tent, Dinah is the narrator of the adventures of her family and her own story. She is no longer a voiceless, passive victim, but a wonderful storyteller able to offer an unusual description of the lives of women, such as her mother Leah, her aunt Rachel, and the other two concubines of her father Jacob, Zilpah and Bilhah. The rape narrative that is prominent in the biblical text is absent in this retelling. The title of the novel suggests from the very beginning the importance of a well-identified space in order to foreground characters and dynamics that the biblical text and its interpretations have traditionally overlooked. Therefore, The Red Tent, an extra-biblical invention of the author, emerges as an ideal feminine setting where women are safe and able to support each other in moments of deep vulnerability, such as their menstruation periods, labors, miscarriages, and abortions. In a brief note, Eileen Cooper informs about the impact of The Red Tent. She explains, since the runaway success of Anita Diamant's The Red Tent in 1997, there has been another run on the biblical bank. Heroines rescued from the paternalistic milieu of scripture and given new life in a quasi-feminist context. Yes, biblical scholars are likely to dismiss these feminist interpretations as woefully speculative, but don't tell that to millions of satisfied The Red Tent readers. As we can infer, The Red Tent is not about academic rigor or prescriptive theological hermeneutics. The book is about engaging a large audience, rewriting the biblical text through a female perspective, and generating an effective experience that evokes reading pleasures generally associated to women. In her 2001 article about the book, Lauren Taylor highlights the communal experience that The Red Tent describes within its narrative, and the one that it suggests as a reading experience. Taylor argues, it has become a bestseller because readers, most of them women, are telling other women about it. She adds, mothers are telling daughters and daughters are telling mothers that they must read it. Old high school friends are calling to say, get this book. Women are buying several copies to give as gifts. Everybody's talking about a book about women talking. The Red Tent is a peculiar example of biblical fiction that is also filled with themes and sensibilities that easily connect with many works that portray women's friendship in a specific context, such as Rebecca Wells' Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, Amy Tan's The Joy Luck Club, and Catherine Stockett's The Help. This partially explains the reception of The Red Tent as a favorite among women's book clubs, as well as an inspiration for women supporting women. Another interesting aspect of The Red Tent is the erotic and romantic element that Anita Diamant incorporates into the story. Although the novel can be correctly categorized as biblical fiction, elements from the romance novel also play a role in the construction of the Amant's prose. As a result, the book plays with generic conventions that add a sort of popular appeal. This is visible in the descriptions of Jacob and Shalem. Shalem is the name given to the novelized version of the Canaanite prince that defiled Dinah in the biblical account. It is also interesting the way these men interact romantically and sexually with their partners. Furthermore, the novel eliminates the element of sexual aggression from the original text and replaces it with a sex-positive approach. For a large part of the novel, Jacob is an idealized vision of gentle masculinity. Regardless the eventual changes that the character suffers, young Jacob is characterized as a vessel of masculine virtues that dutifully fulfill women's romantic and sexual desires. The following passage in which Leah recalls her wedding night is an example. Jacob was good to me. He was slow to enter me the first time. Then his hands came to life. They wandered over my face, through my hair, and then on my breasts and belly, to my legs and my sex, which he explored with the lightest touch. It was the touch of a mother tracing the inner ear of her newborn child. A feeling so sweet, I smiled. He looked at my pleasure and nodded. We both laughed. Now, regarding Shalem, challenging the unfavorable characterization of the Canaanite prince that defiles Dinah in the Bible, Shalem is not a rapist in Anita Diamant's novel. On the contrary, the book presents him as a positive character. He is a considerate lover who treats Dinah well while they spend several days making love. This presentation of Shalem as a powerful, kind, and handsome lover perfectly agrees with a type of man regularly present in popular romance novels. The following is Dinah's description of Shalem in the novel. His name was Shalem. He was the firstborn son, the handsomest and quickest of the king's children, well liked by the people of Shechem. He was golden and beautiful as a sunset. He was perfect. To avoid looking up into his face, I noticed that his fingernails were clean and that his hands were smooth. He wore only a skirt, and his chest was naked, hairless, well-muscled. The Amant eliminates the violent component of the biblical narration and renders Shalem as a romantic hero. This representation foregrounds an important topic that is almost absent from the Bible, which is sexual pleasure from the woman's perspective. According to Jonathan Allen, romance novels more often than not boast an alpha male as hero. For example, a burly and rustic cowboy, a desirable millionaire. Jacob, as a tribal leader and capable shepherd, seems closer to the idea of an attractive cowboy, while Shalem, as a prince, seems to represent the attractive millionaire. Beyond these amusing speculations, Jacob and Shalem, with their handsomeness, power, and sexual drive, are definitely alpha males mirroring conventional heroes from romantic fiction. Now, after providing a notion about the way in which the story of Dinah is rewritten by Anita Diamant, I want to conclude my presentation with three final ideas. First, in the Red Tent, Anita Diamant confers voice to Dinah and shows her as a keen observer and eloquent storyteller. Through this version of the character, no longer a silent woman, Diamant's novel offers an alternative to the patriarchal perspective that is predominant in the book of Genesis, particularly regarding Dinah. Second, the image of the red tent symbolizes the way in which the book has been enjoyed by many female readers, as an inspiring topic of conversation and as a durable women's book club favorite. The communal experience depicted in the novel has been reproduced in spaces that transcend the limits of fiction. In other words, Diamant promotes the identification of female readers with these female biblical characters. Finally, by embracing some elements of the romance novel, the Red Tent presents female romantic fantasies as valid expressions of desire. Considering that women have rarely had the opportunity to express themselves sexually within the biblical narrative, the novel offers a refreshing opportunity through elements associated to romance novels. With these three final remarks, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention.